Hey, it's Mo. I am so glad to be here. This has been a bit delayed, really, between waiting for some good natural light, because I only film with natural light, and kind of getting an opportunity to use at least some of these. I mean, it's not like a full review, but the things that I can give my impressions on and stuff like that, I'm gonna do. And I thought that might be nice. We'll do swatches and we'll do all that stuff. So it's just like a Saturday hangout. Let's do a haul. Let's do some swatches kind of thing. So this is from the Sephora VIB sale, the spring sale. And this took several orders. It seemed like it took a lot of gamesmanship this year to get the things you wanted. Like one thing would come back in stock that I was interested in, and then the other thing that I had in my cart that had been out of stock would go out of stock again. So I ended up doing a lot of separate orders, which was fine. I didn't mind doing that. I get free shipping, so that's fine. And then the other thing was I was able to use some promo codes, and I used some of my points just to get a reward kind of thing. And so all of that is in the haul too. So I thought we'd actually start with those deluxe samples that I chose from my orders. One of them was the Supergoop Glow Screen. I have not used this. This is Supergoop, of course, mainly known for their sunscreens. This is SPF 40. This is a chemical sunscreen, by the way. I typically use the Paula's Choice daily sunscreen that's all mineral. So I haven't used chemical sunscreens lately, but I'm willing to try this. And I believe this is the one Emily Noel really spoke highly of, and I respect her opinion. So ordered that. Also got a deluxe sample of the Anastasia Lash Brag mascara. I haven't even opened this. This is pretty new, so I thought I would give this one a try. They're always so teeny, so teeny. But I don't even want to open it because there's one that I got in the haul that I've just started using. So I try to kind of use things up mascara wise if I can before I open another one. And then the other kind of promo thing I got that I was actually pretty excited about was from Bare Minerals. So this is their Hydra Smoothing Lipstick. And the reason I was happy about this was that I had looked at this and swatched this in store several times before, you know, we had to kind of shelter in place. And it was in this color that I swatched. So that's unusual that like the promo is for a color I actually am super interested in. So here is the little tube. And I have not used this yet, but the color is Honesty. It's a very me kind of color, kind of that mid-tone mauve, a little bit of pink. That's kind of the direction I lean for my favorite color. So I'm really, actually really pleased about that. And then using my points, I think this was the last order I did. I got these little canisters, which are obviously Sephora. They say Beauty and Sephora Beauty Insider on the bottom. They're little. This one, let's give you an example here. So here's what it looks like. Like here's a beauty blender, dry beauty blender, just so you get a sense of the size. And they each have, they're ceramic, and they each have a lid. So these are the two sizes. This one I will probably use to put brushes in because it's, you know, it's a good width for that, and it's not super tall, but I think it's going to be just fine for brushes. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. They'd be adorable in a bathroom, like cotton balls, Q-tips, that kind of thing. But, you know, I usually try to save my points for the elusive $100 Rouge gift reward. But I have also referred to that gift reward as the 8th wonder of the world because it's so hard to get. And this time I just didn't even want to mess with it. And I saw those canisters and I thought they were kind of cute. And I thought that might interest you, or you might like to know, like, okay, what are those really like? So that's why I showed you those. That's all kind of the promo point stuff. And the rest is all things that I purchased. By the way, my hair's it's been pretty humid. I had my hair up and then I just pulled it down. I've got my scrunchie here. I might throw it back up. I don't know. If you are here for hair or fashion advice, please leave. I'm not going to be any help to you. I wear a black t-shirt almost every day. I do nothing with my hair. So makeup I love, the rest of it, not good at. So let's just start. I mentioned a beauty blender. I did get the Beauty Blender Besties set. The only beauty blender I've ever had is this one. I don't think they even make this, whatever it is, ivory color anymore. I've had that for, I mean, it's got to be a year or more, but I use it very infrequently. I'm not a big sponge user typically with my foundation. I use fingers most of the time, or a brush, and sometimes a sponge. But I thought I would try the good old pink original beauty blender, and the price was the same to get this little set or to just buy a beauty blender, so I thought that was a good deal. So it's this little tiny case. Online it looked bigger, but it's beauty blender sized essentially. Here's the beauty blender. I have heard people say this is smaller than a normal beauty blender, which is actually why I brought mine out. So I thought we'd compare size here. Now this one is not new, so I'm not exactly comparing apples to apples, but as far as I know, this is the normal beauty blender size. These are both dry. And then here's the one that came in this little best BFFs set. So it definitely looks smaller than this. Not a ton, but yeah, you can definitely tell the width is different. Oh, that doesn't help. I'm not helping. But that's why I wanted to compare that. So it's this pink beauty blender and obviously the little bag, which has like ventilation holes. So you can carry your damp beauty blender in it, which I actually think is kind of cool. And then inside the bag, it's kind of got this little divider, I'd say, that says like wet me, clean me. So you can put the beauty blender in one side, and then on the other side, it is a little solid blender cleanser, which I've never tried, and a little tiny silicone mat, which you get your beauty blender in there and really kind of clean it better. So there's room for all of that in here, which I think is kind of cute. I use the liquid blender cleanser, and like I said, I've had this for over a year. The only thing I really use it for is foundation, and I mean, especially considering that it's a very pale shade, it's pretty darn clean. And I'm pretty diligent. I think I clean it every time that I use it. But the liquid blender cleanser works really well, but I wanted to try the solid, and I thought, well, I need a new beauty blender anyway. I might as well get the whole little set. So that is the whole little set, and I'm really glad I got it. One thing that I've wanted for literally years, and I finally, how many times have I put this in my cart over the years? And it's from Charlotte Tilbury, and it is one of the Eyes to Mesmerize long-lasting easy color is what it's really called. It's cream eyeshadow, and particularly the color Marie Antoinette, which is frequently sold out. Jessica Braun has talked about this for years, for a couple of years, I think. So this is the container it comes in. It's small, it's just a little pot and very nicely packaged. It is a glass, frosted glass container. And then this is the shade, and it's kind of got a moussey texture. The reason that I've hesitated for so long on this, I mean, aside from the cost, because Charlotte Tilbury is clearly not cheap, is that I'm not sure it's the right shade. It's described as like an antique oyster gold, which is, I don't know what that means. But that's what it looks like. So obviously it's very, very shimmery. I'm not sure about the color for me. I think it's really pretty. It feels very nice, and you know, it wore well that entire day. But I think because my skin tone is very neutral, this may not be the most impactful. I like it, I will use it, but I think there's a shade that I went back and forth between this and the Mona Lisa shade, which is more of kind of a chocolate with maybe a slightly pink undertone. That was the other one that I considered, but I went with this because I wanted to try it for so many years. So I'll kind of update on that one and on most of this stuff. But another thing that's not new, but it is new to me, is from Violet Voss, and it's the mini, or fun size, I should say, HG palette. Now, I actually intended to get the newest one, the Sweet Violet palette, because I love purples. Purples are my favorite eyeshadow color, absolutely. But I don't know, I just didn't think that had a ton of versatility, and I had recently gotten some nice purple shadows, and I'd never seen this many. I've seen the berry one and I've seen other ones, but I'd never seen this little HG one, and I thought it looked really nice. I haven't used this yet. I've never used Violet Voss actually, so this one I have not touched. But this is what it looks like. And I thought these shades were just really pretty, and I was surprised that I had not seen or heard more about this one. As I said, I've seen and heard about other ones, but I thought, let's swatch it together and we'll kind of see what we think here. So these are less than 1 gram each. I'm not cool enough to do the math in my head, but I'd say these are probably around 0.8, close to a Natasha Denona mini pan size, or close to the e.l.f. Bite size. So there's those first 4. By the way, that's that Charlotte Tilbury. And it's quite sunny today, so things might be a little more blown out than they sometimes are. And I say this in every video, I think, but really light colors like this first one often just don't show up on me in a swatch because I'm fair to light, so they don't show up too well. But that is often not the fault of the palette. It's often just, you know, because I'm pale. Not very interesting. But this color story is very much up my alley. Here's the next ones. And there are 10 shades in here. And these are $18. I believe they're $18. I should have looked that up, shouldn't I? And the last two are here and here. And I do pretty light swatches. I'm not digging in there, and I want it to be as close to accurate as possible. So you can see the difference in those swatches in terms of like, wow, that's a really crazy swatch. And this one's like, oh, that's not as much, but this is clearly a bolder color. So I can't give you a review on this one, but I think it's a really pretty color story. And I personally had not heard anything about this one. And I think it's been around maybe for a year or two, but I'm really looking forward to trying that because that's very much my kind of color story. So I also bought some minis. I've never been a big fan of minis because I feel like, you know, it's like a sample size, but if you compare it like by gram or by, you know, milliliter or whatever it is, like you're paying so much more for a mini. But I've kind of gotten past that and realized that, you know, spending $35 or whatever for a full size of something that I very well may not use the entire thing, it's probably better for me to spend $15 or $20. So I did that with a couple of things. I didn't even realize that this size was new when I ordered it, but this is the Wander Beauty Unlashed Volume and Curl Mascara. I've heard a lot about this. A lot of people who like it, and you know, it's like in a tube, so it looks a bit different. The brush is definitely different, I'll say, and I knew that going into it. It's like multi-curved or something. See that? It's kind of like it curves and then curves back up. And the first time I used it, I have used this. First time I used it, I kind of got it all over. Especially in here, I had a massive splotch of it. So for me, this has taken a bit of a learning curve to work with that brush, and I am wearing this today. And I like it. It's not holy grail status, certainly not yet. Now, granted, I've only used it, 3 or 4 times, and it's new. You know how mascaras kind of sometimes get better with age, so this is not a full review at all, but I think it does a nice job. It definitely does a nice job with like separating and making it look like you have individual lashes. I have not had any problems with flaking or transfer or anything like that. The only problem I've had, and this is not highly unusual for me, is that when I'm putting it on, I get it kind of up in this area. I think that's a me thing. I'm not going to fault it too much on that, but I don't think it's going to be holy grail for me. I definitely think I'll use the whole tube. I like it. I think I'm not going to love it, I think. And I think I said I'm going to follow up on some of this stuff anyway. So that was one mini that I bought. And another one was this. I don't really wear bronzer, but this spring, for some reason, I'm interested in bronzer. You know how you go through like phases or whatever? So this is the Tarte Sea Breezy Cream Bronzer. And this is in the shade Seychelles. Does it say shell or say shells? Seems French, right? Seychelles? I've never ever used a cream bronzer before, so I didn't even know if I'd like using one. So I got the mini. So it's about the width of my palm, and I think it's 6 grams, which really, I didn't think that was bad. I mean, it's not huge, but it's not bad. And it's a pretty little compact, even the mini. So it's got a little mirror, and it's cream bronzer. As you can see, I am wearing this today. I went with a very light hand, and again, the lighting's kind of blown out, so you're probably not seeing much of it, but I'll give you a swatch of the actual color, the tone. I do like the tone of this on my skin. And I am far from an expert with cream bronzer, so I actually applied it with my finger and then blended it out with kind of a dense synthetic brush, and I'm happy with the way that it turned out. I used it, you know, pretty typically along the hairline, kind of under the cheekbone, that kind of thing, but it blended out quite nicely. It did not seem to bother my foundation underneath, which I appreciate. And I don't know, I can't quite tell if it's completely matte or if there's just the teeniest bit of sheen. And I've been swatching other things, so I don't want that to muddy the waters. But anyway, that is the Tarte Sea Breezy Cream Bronzer in Seychelles. And then this was a late entry. This was my last order, I think. Right before the end of the VIB sale, they released this little Orgasm mini eye palette. So there was a triple face palette that had Orgasm, Orgasm X, and then a highlighter. And they released a 4-pan eyeshadow palette that I believe was $52. And then they released this at the same time. I didn't feel interested in the 4-pan, and I thought it was pretty expensive. And the face one, I was like, it didn't wow me. But this little guy I thought was, first of all, cute. It's very small. It's very small. So these are like, I think I looked, are these like 0.7 grams? So that's small. A typical palette, as I often say, is usually about 1 gram per shadow. So this is even small for a mini palette. But I really like this. This is what I have on today, by the way. And I've worn it a bunch of times, and this is not even, I don't know, this is really coral for me. Like that color and that color, this really leans warm for what I typically choose. But I have been loving this little palette, like to the degree that I'm like, oh, I wonder if I should have gotten a second one during the sale, because this is 25. So, you know, with the percentage off, it was less than that, which was nice. Here's what I will say about this. So I love this center shade right here. I have it kind of all over the lid, but I've, you know, blended things out and whatever, so I'm not sure how accurately you're seeing it. I love that. I thought this would be red and I wouldn't like it. I actually love this color. That's what's in kind of the crease and the outer corner. And I think this is a beautiful inner corner highlight, brow bone highlight. That's what I have on today. And then the bottom three, this is nice. This is a nice little shimmer. These two have glitter. I'm not a fan of glitter. I used this one. It's a really pretty color actually, but you know, it kind of had glitter flakes. So if it was my perfect palette, I wish it was a mini with these 3 shades and they were bigger. But NARS doesn't care what I think. But it has a mirror and it's teeny, and I like these so much more than I anticipated. I thought it would be an interesting thing to review and talk about, but I really like it. I really, really like it. In fact, today I was like, you know, should I wear that palette again? But I was like, yeah, I'm wearing it again. I love this palette. You can see that highlight is just really lovely. And these colors, and again, these aren't as intense as they are on my eyes, obviously, because these are just pretty simple swatches. But those are the top 3 shades, and I love them. I absolutely love them. I've worn this shimmer all by itself. I've worn it with this like I am today. And then here are the bottom 3. All of these, I'll say even the glitters, all 6 of these shadows feel really nice. They are a nice, soft formula. I don't get a lot of fallout. I mean, of course, as I mentioned, I get some glitter around with these last 2 glittery shades. I think this is a really pretty color, by the way. It's just a little 6-pan palette. I don't think it's wildly versatile. It's not like I'm getting 6 different looks out of this or whatever. And for some reason, I don't care. I just love this little palette. And it was, like I said, it's totally late entry. I didn't even know it was coming out. It just happened to be there the day that I placed my last order. I really like this. And then everything else is normal, full-size world that we're in. So we'll just start with something that's, I don't buy a lot of skincare. I don't spend a lot of money on that kind of stuff. I kind of have my favorites already. And maybe there's like 1 or 2 things that are more expensive, but I got my skincare-ish stuff pretty much down. And that usually includes primer. The L'Oreal Magic Perfecting Base is my favorite primer. But I did decide, because it was on sale and because I've heard such good things, that I would try the Tatcha, the Liquid Silk Canvas. So the Silk Canvas, what did that come out? 2 years ago? And it was in, you know, like a compact, and then, you know, you kind of rubbed your finger over it and applied it. And then the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer came out, and a lot of people said that was a dupe for it. The original Silk Canvas, I never bought in full size. I bought, I guess you'd call it a deluxe size, which was still very expensive, but it was little. And I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was fantastic. I didn't really notice that much difference, because generally what I'm trying to do with a primer is, I mean, I'm always good for lengthening the stay of my makeup time, but mostly it's about pores. And that's one of the reasons that I film with natural light. You can see I really have pores. I obviously have lines, I have wrinkles, I have scars, I have all of that. So I'm hoping a primer that says it's kind of pore reducing or minimizing will do that. And that's kind of what I've heard about this one. Oil-free liquid layers of silk, prime to make makeup last longer while keeping it out of the skin. I guess that's a thing. Helping to minimize excess shine, clogged pores, and breakouts. So technically, does it say it minimizes? Oh, it says blurs the look of pores, fine lines, and uneven skin tone. So this is what it looks like. Typically Tatcha, very pretty packaging. Tatcha was, I think it was an independent brand, but it's been purchased, and I want to say it's been purchased by Unilever in the last 4 or 5 months. I should have looked that up. I think it's Unilever. Anyway, it's one of the bigger companies that has purchased Tatcha. So it looks like this. It has a pump. It says to use 1 pump. I'm not going to put a full pump on here at the moment, and it's kind of got a peachy, whitish appearance to it, although it blends in clear. At least I should say it blends in clear on me. I think it's pretty darn clear. I haven't seen any kind of tint or anything. So there it is on my hand, and I don't think you're going to be able to see a whole lot of difference. You might notice a touch of blurring this part of my hand. So I've used this several times. I think it's nice. I don't feel like I'm ready to do a full review on this yet, especially since it's such an expensive product. I'm not prepared to tell you like absolutely yes or absolutely no. But my first impressions, even though I've used it several times, are that it's nice, but I don't know that it's game changing. And then I bought a foundation. So CYO Life Proof was my favorite foundation, and it was discontinued not quite a year ago. So I found a dupe, which was the Soap and Glory Kick A foundation, which was essentially the same formula. Well, that has now been discontinued in the last month or 2. So I'm looking for a new foundation that I really like. I have several foundations. I have nice foundations, but that really was my favorite foundation. So I had read a lot about this. I had heard about this. I know Mel Thompson recommended this one, and Geek Out of Water actually did a review on this one. It's the Makeup Forever Reboot foundation. And based on those reviews and what I read, I thought I would give this a try, especially obviously because I was going to save some money during the sale. So I have this in shade R230, which is, I believe it's light with cool undertones. As I said, I'm pretty neutral, but you know, when it comes to foundation shades, you do the best you can. By the way, I always find it really interesting when reviewers apologize for being so bad at choosing foundation shades online. How could anybody be good at that? I mean, there's no way. You're looking at a picture on a monitor and you're trying to base it on a brand's description. So everyone who reviews, please don't apologize for that, because it's impossible. It's a guessing game, you know, you do the best you can. And even with the shade finder on Sephora, which I did use, I still wasn't 100% that this was the right shade. And I do think maybe it's a touch light for me, but I can make it work. So anyway, this is the foundation, and it has a pump, which many of us appreciate. I'll show you the consistency here. So it's, what would I call this? It's not super runny. It's not like the most liquidy foundation, as people say, but it's not moussey in any way. It's not heavy in any way. And I've used this, I'm going to say 4 times. I really like this foundation. Now, I haven't used it for weeks and weeks and months, but I really like it. I feel as if when I catch myself in the mirror on a day that I'm wearing this, I'm like, oh, my makeup looks really good today. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I have that Makeup Forever foundation on. I really like it. It's light. It's not, I would call it, I guess, medium coverage. I'm gonna go with medium, maybe even for some, you know, it's subjective, right? What you consider medium, what I consider medium, but, and it's actually a great shade match for my hand. So as I said, it's pretty close shade match. But it's just light, and it just evens things out nicely, but it's not sheer, but it's not heavy, and it lasts all day. And it just looks nice. I do have this on today, by the way. And I really like it. I just really, really like this foundation. It does not give me polka dot pores. It does not settle into lines. It's just like, it's really good. I don't even know. Like, it's just a really good foundation for me. Everybody has different tastes, of course, but I'm really happy. And I'm rather difficult to please when it comes to foundation. So far, I would say I'm a big fan of the Makeup Forever Reboot foundation. So I did order the new Kosis, the Sun Show Moisturizing Bronzer, Moisturizing Baked Bronzer, I should say. And I got the shade Light. This was one of those products that I swear from the time I'd get it in my cart and then look for something else that would be out of stock, particularly in the light and medium shades. And I wanted light because I thought medium would be too deep for me. I was very drawn to this because people were talking about it, because I think the packaging is really beautiful. I don't know why. Maybe it reminds me of the ocean or something. But this is the packaging. Frosted plastic, by the way. And it's a baked product, as I mentioned, so you can see that doming there. This is the shade Light. It is a shimmery bronzer. This is not your good old matte bronzer. Let's see if we can get a decent swatch here. I might put a little more of that on just to give you. And I've heard other people say that this leans, certainly in a swatch, it leans pretty warm. I think it leans rather yellow, actually, rather than like orangey. Let's take a look here. So it does have a bit of an orange tone. It's a good tone for my skin. Jury definitely still out on this one. I'm not sure. I think it's really beautiful. It's a really nice texture. I'm not sure I buy the moisturizing thing. But I don't know. I haven't decided if I do like it or I don't like it. And I'm sure it's mainly because of the shimmer. You know, it gives a really pretty sheen, but I'm not sure that I enjoy that all over my face. And I've tried it a couple times, but I have not drawn a conclusion on that one. Let's put it that way. Something for my cheeks that I really wanted that I did not think I'd be able to get because it was out of stock and out of stock and out of stock and finally came back in stock is from Aether Beauty. I'm going to assume it's Aether since they have a line over the A, which phonetically in my world means it's a long vowel, right? I think that's what I learned in grade school. But this is the Crystal Charged Cheek Palette, and specifically this one is in Rose Quartz. There's two versions. There's this one and there's one that appeared to be a deeper version. This was the version I wanted. I really like pink blush, pink peachy blush, pretty normal stuff, nothing too outrageous. They're pretty big on sustainability, so they do not use a magnetic closure. They use a little elastic strap. They do not have a mirror for that same reason. They do put the shades on this little plastic thing, which seems a little, I'm not sure. In fact, this was totally influenced by Tara Babies. I don't know if you've ever watched one of her hauls. She's been around for a long time. I've been watching her for years. She typically does a Saturday night haul. I watch Central Time, so it's 7 o'clock on Saturday nights. Yes, I know that, and yes, I watch it every week. She does fantastic hauls. But anyway, she had hauled this from the sale early on, and I fell in love with her swatches. I just felt like this was right up my alley. I've never purchased anything from Aether Beauty before, and this is what I have on today. And I can tell you unequivocally that I love this. I was not disappointed. Nice formula, nice color. This is the highlight I'm wearing as well. Colors are very me. And there they are. And I'm not a big highlighter person. I'm trying to be more of a highlighter person. I guess it's bronzer and highlight this year. I don't know. But I like this highlight. It's not overdone. It's not glittery. It just, I think it's a really pretty sheen. And the first time I put it on, I was like, yep, winner, winner. I knew I'd like that. I do like it. Actually, I love it. I love this cheek palette. I was hearing a lot about Tower 28. Have you heard much about Tower 28? So the big things seem to be their Beach Please lip and cheek balms and their lip gloss. I ordered lip gloss. I ordered one in the shade Fire, which is what I have on today. And then I bought a second one later on in the sale. So the big thing I kept reading and hearing about these is they're not sticky. They're not sticky. This is the perfect gloss. How can this exist in the world? Like, it's amazing. It's so not sticky. I agree, there's no stick. Like, there's no strings, you know, there's nothing weird. I think my hair still sort of sticks a little bit. Yeah, it does. But it does, when I have this on and I rub my lips together, I think I'm wearing a balm, which I think is pretty good for, and it's really bright in the tube, right? It's like a lip jelly. And this one is Fire, which again is not really generally the color I go for. I usually go for more of a pink, but I had seen someone swatch this and they said it's not as bright orange as you might think. And you can see, here, I'll throw some on, that it's not overwhelmingly orange or like in your face orange. And I really do like this shade. I really do like it. I think it's probably my favorite of the possibilities, but since pink is so much of what I wear, I did pick up the XOXO shade later. And this one's more like clear and see-through. It looks like jelly shoes from the 80s in my mind. So it's slightly different, but very similar. And it's just got more of a pink color payoff. Same feeling, same texture. It does feel really nice. It really is a nice feeling gloss. And I did not get the cheeks, at least not during the sale. I may have picked one up after the sale, but I'll be doing that in a future video. But I did pick up 2 of the Fenty cream blushes. I picked these up pretty early on, and I picked up 2. So Cool Berry and Crush on Cupid. Crush on Cupid was the one that I was like, me. That's such a me shade. But Cool Berry to me looked like a really kind of serviceable color that would work for a lot of people and with a lot of looks. So I wanted to get that one as well so you could see it. So here's Cool Berry. These are little, so that's the main complaint, if you want to say, that I've heard about these, is they are little. So these are 3 grams. I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but so this is the little mini Tarte bronzer, which says it's 6 grams. These are 3 grams. So maybe the pan is a little more shallow. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it because cream products, I don't hammer through that quickly. So these have almost a, thick is not the right word, but there's substance to these. They're not greasy, they're not thin. There's substance to them. They're not dry, but they don't feel like slick. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. So this is Cool Berry, and obviously you'd blend this out on your cheek. I think you would, I would. I shouldn't assume how you put your makeup on. So that's Cool Berry. And none of these are as intense on the skin as they look in the pan, which I think is pretty typical for kind of a cream blush kind of thing. And then this is Crush on Cupid, which I love this color. I love it in the pan, like I like it just to look at, and I like it on the cheeks. These are so interesting. I really like the texture of these. Got some stick. They don't feel sticky. This one has more blueberry, this one has more pink, and I think, on me anyway, I feel like they show up on my cheeks more differently than they're showing up in the swatches. So 2 of the Fenty cream blushes, the Cheeks Out Freestyle cream blushes. I have one thing left, and it is an eyeshadow palette that I was drawn to, but kind of surprised me. It's the Supreme Nudes from Artist Couture. And this had come out not too long before the sale. And you've probably seen this. I think a lot of people have talked about this. And I don't really know precisely why I was so intrigued by this, but it was kind of that thing that I couldn't quite get out of my head. But here it is. I do love the packaging. It's very sleek. It's just black plastic. It has a magnetic closure, which I think is rather nice and a bit unexpected on a palette like this. Often it's a, click or whatever you want to call it. Nice size mirror in there. And there are the shades. And if I look at this just objectively, I think, there's a lot of brown in there. That's not really what I tend to go for. And yet, I couldn't get this palette out of my mind. First thing I have from Artist Couture. I know they haven't had a lot of releases, but yeah, I was really drawn to it. And I've used this 2 or 3 times, I think. And again, I'm not ready to do a review on this. I'm just not sure. I certainly don't feel like it's bad in any way. I'm just not sure how good I think it is, and I want to make sure that I'm clear on that before I'm really telling you. There is texture definitely to these shimmery shades. Like, they don't feel, all of these aren't the silkiest, smoothest feeling shadows I've ever come across. But that's not a negative comment, it's just an observation actually, because you'll see by the swatches, they look pretty good. And here are the last 4. The green is the one I was most interested in. A pretty, you know, I love olive green. They really come off nicely. There's that green, so pretty. And there's, you know, there's warmth, there's coolness, there's kind of this mustardy shade, there's a few, like this is a different kind of shimmer than this one is. I just find it a really intriguing palette. Some things have been precisely what I expected, and some I'm still not sure. But I'll do follow-ups on those things if you'd like that. And if there's anything in particular that you'd like me to do a dedicated review to, please let me know. I always find that, you know, useful because it's really all about you. Even though I love the makeup, no denying that. My purpose here is to be helpful always. I hope that was helpful, by the way. I'm so glad you come and hang out and just want to talk makeup because I absolutely love this stuff. I hope you are at peace today, and I'll talk to you soon.